I don't think any woman needs to be in their 30s to have this feeling. But usually when you reach your 30s, it might be too late. Hey guys, what's up? It's me again. Today we're going to watch the Jordan Peterson video, reaction video. If you like this content, remember to like, share and everything. And let's see what he has to say in this video.
You see the ONS data that came out a couple of weeks ago that said for the first time ever since records began, 50.1% of women are childless by 30. Ooh. So there are more women without children at 30 than there are women with children. The first time ever.
Well, so this is, somebody clipped a part of one of my podcasts, I believe it was, where I was talking about what our society does to 19-year-old women, or 18-year-old women, 19-year-old women. We just lie to them all the time. You know, the first lie is, there's nothing more important than your career, more or less by definition. So that's the first lie. The second lie is, there will be nothing more important to you in your life than your career. So that's the second lie. And then the third lie is, there should be nothing more important in your life than your career. So that's the third lie.
I would say that my wife's mother, she didn't say that. She just told my wife back then, I don't want you to depend on a man. So have a job in case something goes wrong. If he gets disabled or whatever. And she was like, I was like, oh really? That's how your mother thinks? She was, yeah, because my mother cleaned always, and she had a hard life for my wife. And her father wasn't like the best father. He wasn't the most consistent. So the suffering that she saw, she was like, I never want to be like my mother. So if I can have a good man that then is disabled, or it's a bad man, even if I can get child support, I still want to have a job because I want to give my kids the best. And I was actually amazed that I randomly chose the right woman, you know. And she still prefers to be a stay-at-home mom, but she decided that I'm just going to work 6 hours instead of 8 because I just want to spend it more with my family, which I think is kind of cool.
Implicit in that is the idea that children are a burden, and that the idea that women should have children is part of the oppressive patriarchy and should be resisted. And who are men to tell me what I can do with my body? And hey, fair enough, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, I've worked in female-dominated occupations my entire life. I worked as a daycare worker way back when, that was like 1980, something like that. And there were no men doing that, but I really liked kids, and so that was fun. And I worked for social services in Alberta in the child care department, and then I've been working as a psychologist, either training or as a psychologist since then, and that's been a female-dominated enterprise increasingly as the years went by. But even when I first entered it, so I'm in the post-female in the workplace generation firmly. I never experienced the world except as that, and so I've watched women progress through their professional careers at every level of attainment, from the lowest to the highest, and observed what happened.
Yeah, I never understood a woman that did so much to get a specific job or a position to only then leave it and be a stay-at-home mom. I never understood that. It's like, why did you waste so much money to enjoy a journey? Maybe you could have done something different and enjoy that journey and then have the baby. Why do I talk like this? Because I got fired because a lady had her baby. I was a replacement because she had the baby, and then she decided to come back because she wanted to feel useful. So they fired me. They were, I'm sorry, we promise you can stay almost a year, but no, this and this and that. This girl came back, say hi to me and everything. Guess what? She left the same company 6 months later, and they called me, hey, can you come back? She's pregnant. I guess I said, no, I'm not gonna come back. Who are you trying to make happy? I don't know. But it's frustrating when everybody is telling you that you have to love something, but your body might like something else, but you feel ashamed to just like yourself. Just be yourself. What do you want? My wife did reach 30 childless. It wasn't because of the man. It was just more, she just wanted to enjoy life. We were almost 10 years together, not getting married. But we had fun. There was no mission, there was nothing, no engagement in nada. It just one day randomly, we just walked by a store, saw a ring, and we thought, should we get married?
And relatively, I would say bias-free, because I didn't know. And what I've seen is that as women progress towards their late 20s, there's a psychological transformation, and what happens is that they place less emphasis on their career and way more emphasis, particularly on having a child.
We were in our 33s or something like that. We met when we were like 25 or something like that. Yeah, so in that area. And after that, we married. And we decided to wait 1 year before we could have the baby. There wasn't like a pressure to have the baby. Never my wife asked. We just smoothed it out.
And that really reaches a crisis point around 29 or 30 for the vast majority of women. And their attitude flips. And I've seen it flip very dramatically with many women. And I suppose the most most convincing evidence of that, I worked with high-end lawyers in Toronto for about 10 years. I was part of an organization. We went to law firms, high-end law firms, and said, send us your most productive people, and we'll help them iron out whatever wrinkles there might still be in their life. And the advantage to them is that things will go better for them, and the advantage to you is they'll be even more productive. And there's a good management dictum, which is pay the most attention to your most productive people because they're bringing in the bulk of your revenue.
Yeah, true.
Disproportionately. And so I worked with men and women who were at the peak of their careers in a very difficult enterprise. And so these were women who were generally very attractive, well put together physically, pretty stable psychologically, extremely conscientious, very, very smart, and high achieving from like junior high all the way through high school, university, law school, onto the top firms, rocketing up through the ranks, full partnership by the time they were 29 or 30. And all the law firms, all the women bailed out.
You know what I find funny? This reminds me of one of my friends. I used to work in IT, but this girl was so good socially. She learned very well. She listens before opening her mouth, and she outranked me in every job that I went. She just grew. And I don't know what happened now that she was in her 30s. One time she just quit everything. I was like, what happened? She was like, I'm done doing this job. I don't want to do this. I don't enjoy the job. I wish I had a baby, but I want a proper man. So instead of keep doing that, she just decided to quit everything, find a more simple job, but in a good position that she can still say no, that she doesn't want a raise, but she wants to earn enough money. She did that, and now she's always mountain climbing, she's traveling and everything, just enjoying life like, I don't care about the money. I always respected her because she always outperformed me at any job we met. The fact that people treat you like a man, you are better against resistance, you know? And I don't think most ladies are good at fighting that resistance. They're not trained or prepared properly, and usually they explode or something happens. I mean, it's weird. And the more ladies I see in those positions of 30 or 40 and they keep going up, the more have like mental issues. I don't think this world is designed for a woman if this keeps going on. Just asking certain girls that I know here in Barcelona in the 30s or 40, when I asked them, are you okay? Most of them are telling me, no, I'm not. Most of them that are okay, they do have 2 kids and they have their husband. You can say, oh, they feel trapped. True, might be possible. But hey, if you want to be an entrepreneur of your life, I might think you're selfish. But you might be the other one with the 2 kids. Hey, that's a slave. Maybe. But maybe certain people like to serve people because it gives them a purpose.
All of them. The law firms couldn't keep them. And I was really, and I talked to the women a lot about this because I was very interested in it, because I knew the law firms were bending themselves over backwards and tying themselves into knots trying to retain these women, because why wouldn't they? You know, just being greedy capitalists is enough.
No.
You know, they don't want to lose their high performing women because they're performing at the highest level, and they couldn't keep them. The women wanted to have 9-to-5 jobs. They wanted to bind the job so they could have a life. And that was especially true once they got interested in having a child or had one. And what they really came to was a very interesting realization. So because they were highly conscientious women, they sort of did their duty and worked hard and diligently and didn't pop their head up to ask questions. They're in junior high, they got the best grades. They were in high school, they got the best grades, and so on, all the way through, right till they reached partnership. But that's sort of an apogee, right? You hit partnership in a senior law firm, it's like you're at the top of your profession. Well, then what? Well, so then they looked around and they thought, here I am with all these like hyper-competitive men, perfectly willing to work 80 hours a week, nonstop, to stay at the top.
Yeah.
What the hell are they doing?
Yeah. That's the thing that keeps happening with a lot of women. A lot of women. I keep asking my wife last time, hey honey, you are one of the best. I mean, you can become a boss. Because our motto is earn enough money so we can enjoy life without sweating it all away because we're nervous, but we still want to have time to spend with our kids. But I told her, if you earn more money, we can have more fun vacation. And she was like, I'm happier with you here. I don't need a vacation to be happy. I have my kids here. We can just go to the park. I'm super freaking happy. But I have to work to keep this stability. But if you earned more, I would be a stay-at-home mom. But I don't want to put you in that position, especially now because you're sick. And I was like, okay. I kind of felt bad, but then at the same time, I'm like, dude, I'm freaking lucky, bro. But it's because in the beginning, I did do way more for her. I traveled way more for her. And I tried to keep a job to make our lives complete. But I do think in your 30s, 40s, everybody is going to find that more attractive than any other option. Because I keep meeting too many people that I invite to my house. They keep saying, I wish I had this. There's too many ladies I meet. I talk to them. Oh my God, these kids keep making me crazy sometimes. That sometimes I say it at my job. And then she says to me, well, at least you didn't have to drink so much to forget your problems. I'm like, huh? What are you on about? I wasn't trying to make this a therapy session. Are you okay? She said, no, I'm okay. Don't forget it. You keep hearing these weird gangster quotes.
Because that's the real question. What is it that characterizes this small percentage of hyper-competitive men? It's not. You can assume that that's how everyone should be, but first of all, that isn't how everyone is. Or you can flip that and say, well, there's only a small minority of human beings that are willing to do this, to work flat out 8 hours a week. I mean, they're certainly being paid for it. Let's make no mistake about that. But well, what about the rest of life? Well, that's what the women asked. Yeah. Why am I doing this? And that's a great question. Well, for men, there's a different answer than for women. It's a really different answer. And it isn't like the men are exactly thinking this through. It's more like this is an integral part of male motivation. The more successful you are as a man, the more women like you.
But the problem that you have now is that as women are getting better educated, with more employment, more status, more prestige, they compete themselves out of their ability to find an attractive mate. As women raise up through the dominance hierarchy, and this is
competence hierarchy,
sorry.
Yeah, that is something that I find also very weird, because if you want to be a successful woman, right, you have to find the proper man that keeps you happy. But usually a woman wants to feel, this is what I'm seeing, it's as if you want to feel protected by a man. That if you want to relax, if you want to look anything resemblance like the woman from the olden days, you feel protected. So it's really hard to find a woman that dates down a guy that earns less, a guy that doesn't look good or whatever. It's like you feel that I've managed to reach this much. I deserve that much, you know? The problem is you're competing with so many ladies. And a lot of ladies feel lonely with time. And the fact that you want to keep that job, you had to make some drastic decisions to keep that job. The difference is men and women might have to make that decision, but at the same level, both are not as attractive.
Who's going to tell women the equal access to opportunity that you have recently just acquired? Actually, what that's doing is it's making it more difficult for you to find a mate that you're fundamentally attracted to.
Yeah, well, it does a lot of things. I mean, it does provide women with a lot more opportunity on the economic front. It does decrease their dependency on their mate in relationship to economic security.
I have to admit though, I don't see that much in Europe. I see it well in specific ladies that think like American. But the amount of ladies that I know that out-earn their partner, but the partner is maybe very hot, or he has a specific job that makes it seem that he's very intelligent, but it doesn't pay a lot.
And educating women, countries that are willing to educate women, that's the best predictor of their future economic success. So if you look at developing countries and you want to find out what about a developing country is most likely to predict the fact that they will continue to thrive economically, it's their attitude towards the education of women. And a couple more things. Women's educational status predicts their children's educational status, but men's educational status doesn't. So that's also an important multi-generational effect.
Oh.
I released a video.
That's interesting. So my wife makes my kids more intelligent? Well, I guess I'm happy about that.
Or someone released a clip of me talking about some of the things we just talked about. And it went out on YouTube Shorts, and it's got like 5 million views in a month or something like that. And the comment section is unbelievably vitriolic. Every single comment is vitriolic. And it's all from women. It's like, who is this old white bastard telling us what we should do with our bodies? You know, and I wasn't being judgmental. I was just saying exactly what I said to you, which is, well, I've watched women over the entire course of my life with, I would say, an affectionate eye. You know, I love my sister. I love my wife. I have a daughter. I love my mother. I'm pretty happy about women, all things considered. I don't have an axe to grind in relationship to how they should conduct their lives. I don't even know how they should conduct their lives. I've watched what happens. And I've also watched what happens to women who hit 29 or 30 and then can't conceive. And that is not a fate I would wish on anyone.
Yeah, I've seen that. My wife, for some odd reason, due the design of my son's mouth, that is like a generational issue that's happening with all the softwood food that we're eating, the baby's mouth switches in a way, and he could not latch very well at my wife's breast. So my wife could not breastfeed. Seems that she didn't even have the breast design or whatever to make it work perfectly. And she was feeling very bad. I had to convince her every day, you're not a bad mother.
It's awful. And 30% of couples fall into that. 30% of couples have difficulty conceiving. It's a lot.
Yep.
And the probability that you'll have difficulty conceiving increases with age. And so, you know, c'est la vie. But it's very interesting to me to see how vitriolic those comments have been and how uniform that is, because usually on my YouTube channel in particular, 95% of the comments are positive. And this is completely the opposite of that. So you brought this up at the beginning. You said 50% of women now at 30.
50.1 are childless by 30.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's not good. That's a sign of something profoundly wrong with the entire culture at an extremely deep level.
I don't think that women need to take it as us trying to tell women what they should or shouldn't do, but I think that it would be very fair to say that you need to be an incredibly unique woman to make it to 50 without a family and look back and think, yeah, I did this right. That's not to say that those women aren't out there. They absolutely are. I know some of them.
So for me, in the end, if you want to have a baby early, I think it benefits you even more. Because I have a 30-year-old friend and another 30-year-old with a baby that had it in the 20s. And they were talking consistently, yeah, but look, you didn't enjoy your life. Bada bing, bada boom. You were with the baby. I had fun. I had my this face and bada beam. I'm like, yeah, sure. But I think also that if you're in your 30s and your childs are already 10 or 7 or whatever, they can just go play. You can still party. You can still have fun. There's no problem. The difference is, if you're gonna do that in your 30s, you might have issues having the baby. You might have issue pushing out the baby. There's so many other things that might be happening. So do what you have to do. But do not come and tell me there isn't a risk having a baby later. I don't think any woman needs to be in their 30s to have this feeling. But usually when you reach your 30s, it might be too late. But for me, and this is me personally, this is anecdotal, don't be hurt by my honesty. Most women, once they have their baby, they do not appreciate the job at the same level. It's not the same. Unless you're just built different. Might be possible. But a lot of ladies that I know, they want to look built different. And that's a lifestyle I do not want to enjoy. Trying to please people on what the type of mother and modern woman that I am. No, that's not me. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the whole video. Remember to like, put your comments, and subscribe. And if you really enjoy it, I'll make more. Peace.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam turloqueta verdeta welcome. Dem vida mi a tua iniciativa, padrei ku indica e também que sum sativa. Te ainda no que acepta ku eta medicina pop di nang di eta causa rebeldia. Cooking